Happy Friday, Burke.
What's
How you
up?
doing?
Good.
It's almost holiday here. I'm mostly checked out. I might just end the stream halfway through.
I've been checked out since Monday. I put my butt in this chair on Monday and went, nope, no. And then I've been trying to get through the day ever since, doing productive things and being a good employee. I'm just being honest, chat. It's been a hard week for Burke over here. Mostly working on this app though, as I keep coming back to this because it's like an escape.
It's fun. It's good stuff. I was hacking on this, trying stuff out this week. I was complaining before the call. I had to actually think about my code. I have also this week been catching up on some of the .NET Conf videos that I helped produce the event, but didn't actually get to watch live. So rewatching the Blazor one and watching some of the other Aspire stuff. And so
nice. That was a fun event, man. I mean, there's so many people there, and I just really enjoyed being a part of that. And
I mean, I love that your session was. And I was thinking about because this week I'm going to be coding, which is a little frightening, and I'll be doing that in VS Code. And I was thinking of all the stuff that you guys covered and everything. So.
Yeah, it was fun. You know, I don't get to do a lot of the whole hey, this is VS Code, right? This is the sidebar. This is the activity bar. This is the bottom panel. The stuff that you take for granted because you use it every day. But people who don't, I mean, I always equate it to the Photoshop experience or the Photoshop effect, where if you don't use Photoshop and you open Photoshop, you are just immediately paralyzed. You're like, I don't know. But if you use Photoshop all the time, it's a very intuitive interface and you love it. And VS Code is the same way. We've tried to make it very simple, but the fact of the matter is the power of a tool is directly commensurate with the features that are in it. And the complexity of the thing is directly commensurate with the features that are in it. So anyway.
Well, and then a trade-off is it's super fun to keep adding a bunch of extensions in, but then when you make it more complicated when you add the extensions too. So
true story.
Yeah. Okay, so let me bring up my screen.
So today we're doing OpenGraph. We should explain what OpenGraph is, because until I did this, I didn't even know what it was. I was blissfully unaware that this is even a thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually thought about that. Okay. So here we've got, here's an example. I'm adding a new link. This is on the existing site. And for people that don't know, if there's anyone watching, we're rebuilding a site that was written years ago with some kind of old stuff, Azure storage and front door and some, it's a little complicated how it was put together because it was done before staticwebapps was a thing. So now we're redoing it and we're taking the chance to try it out in Blazor, and we're learning some cool stuff along the way. So this is a site where you can collect a list of links. Now notice I entered something in, and then now it's filling this in, right? So it goes out and it grabs information about it. So let's do this one, announcing. Oops, no, sure, we'll do that. So this is a site we use for .NET Live TV. So it pulls in the thumbnail, description, and title. So, and the reason that all works, people don't think about this, but there's this OpenGraph spec that's actually kind of been around for a bit. So it's a protocol where you put stuff at the top of your page, and if you view source on something, or if you're looking at code and you're like, what are all these OG things? That's what OpenGraph is. So, and OpenGraph protocol, we're kind of scratching the surface of it. And as I was looking at this, I was like, we could actually go deeper if we wanted to, because we're just using title, image, and description. But there's actually a bunch of optional metadata that you can do for stuff like if it's a video or if it's a specific, locale, or I don't know, all kinds of other stuff. So.
Yeah, and Chad, you've seen this, no doubt, right? Like when you're on some social media sites, like I know LinkedIn does this, where you paste a link in and then it just pulls in all the information about the URL. With this, they call them like rich embeds. And there's actually, John, there's an easier way to do this, but it's not an option because we don't have any, our startup doesn't have any funding. But if you go to embedly.com, are you familiar with this service?
No, but I'm not surprised. Embedly, is that right?
Embedly, I believe. And yeah, so in this case, that's all they do is they do this OpenGraph, like pulling back this rich information, and they have an API. The problem is it costs $100 a month to use. It's quite pricey, right?
Yeah.
So the Open Graph, what they're doing is they're abstracting the Open Graph because the Open Graph is a mess, to say the least. And
Yeah.
also everyone implements it differently or
Slightly
just
different.
doesn't implement it at all, right?
Yeah.
So you get back all of the information that you need or absolutely nothing. And so Embedly also does other stuff. I think they're like scraping the page, right? They'll like polyfill essentially Open Graph.
Yeah.
What is this?
Here's another thing I was checking out, just to describe, or it makes it kind of clear what it's doing. So here I put in a website, and the main problem it solves is, if you look on the right here, we've got, here's when you share that link on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or Discord or whatever, right? So this is how all those social sharing things know what the thumbnail is and stuff. And before, everyone was kind of doing it their own way. So it's like you said, it's a standard that people do slightly different and implement slightly differently, but it's at least you throw those tags in and it'll like do the thing for you. So
right. So Chad, if you're building a site,
all right. So
the Open Graph stuff in your site. It's important.
Yeah, okay,
I never did before. I never did because I didn't know what it was. I'm like, what is all this? I don't know what this is. I'm not putting this up here. OG : whatever.
Yeah. Well, and it gets worse nowadays if you build a modern site, because you end up with also, there's all the like thumbnails that you put in for like Apple and like the PWAs and the bookmarking.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Like there's an entire section here just for Twitter. Like you have to add markup to your page for specific social networks, and that's just silly, right?
So you don't actually, I don't think you have to. Like if you put this stuff in, if you only put in OG, it'll work on Twitter. So I'm not sure why
why have the Twitter meta tags?
I don't know. That is a question. I know that we only do, like on the .NET blog, I'm pretty sure we only have the OG. Here, let me bring that up. Like
I wonder, is Open Graph a Facebook spec?
I think it started there.
Because Facebook was trying to pull in URLs.
Yeah, so if I do view page source, start the day with some code. All right, so here, let me. So here, let's see if we have Twitter specific stuff. We do. But see, the deal there is that's if you want to customize it more. So here we have stuff like you can link in the actual Twitter author. You can do also stuff like if you want a large image, and you know what I mean? Like you can give more specific stuff that people add on top of it. So
yeah, I mean, I get it. Who said it? The great thing about standards is there's so many to choose from, right? This is one of those things where you're like, yo, just pick a lane, right? Like, let's all just do it the same way because the whole internet needs to work together. So please.
Yeah.
But I get it, right? Like there's this, it looks like there's base Open Graph, and then like you can build on top of that.
Exactly. And that's part of, it's like the beauty and the problem of the web, right? It's like the web is built as like common protocols that you can build on top of. And that's why we still have browsers and, like everything still works decades after it was first built. But then the problem is nobody wants to just implement the basic thing, because then you're a commodity and someone else can do it better, right? So Twitter wants to be everything that OpenGraph does.
Right, they need to differentiate themselves.
That's part of why like OpenID didn't work, right? Because OpenID is actually conceptually pretty good, but then everyone's like, okay, but we want to do OpenID, but with Google stuff, and we're going to make it like work even better on Google stuff. And Microsoft did it too. Everybody is
everybody's their own off.
Yep.
What's up? Yep. Hey, Ranjit's here from. Nice. I'm gonna try this, Ranjit. Bhubaneswar, India.
That's
so and they awesome. Love .NET. Welcome.
I love seeing our friends all around the world join in. It's great.
From Warm Peas is here.
Awesome. Okay,
better than cold peas.
I have talked long enough. I need to start writing some code. So
yeah, let's get some open going.
Okay, let's do now. Did I only share? That's interesting. I've switched over, but the screen is not updating, and maybe I didn't hear. Let me stop and reshare the screen. because I'm sharing my
Is your
whole
machine
screen.
still moving at the speed of Jello?
No, it's wonderful now.
Snappy again? What was it?
It's
A
super
reboot?
fast. We'll find out. If it's slow, it is confirmed, relatively anecdotally confirmed, that it's because of screen sharing, because I was coding last night for many hours and it was super speedy.
Hey, John, before you do anything, try this. Go to the activity bar on the left side.
Yeah.
And like right click it somewhere below the icons and say, go to the bottom and say activity bar position.
Oh my gosh.
And choose top.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
This is like a new thing. And then it moves it to the top of the sidebar. So you have like more space on the screen.
Okay, that's neat. That is
Some people
cool.
don't like this. Some people love it. I happen to like it quite a bit. But then again, I know all the keyboard shortcuts for navigating between these things. And so I don't often click on the icons.
Well, I guess that's fair. I mean, I'm going to need to bring up yeah, I guess just Thunder Client is one thing. Yep.
Hey, well, and yeah, that's true. And then you can't see it from there. So
yeah,
we're not gonna get too from the thing. What's up, Kelvin?
Okay, I love it. Thank you.
NJ.
Yep. All right. So let's go. I'm going to start with the API. I'm being a little bit lazy today, and so I kind of went through most of this trying it out because I wanted to make sure that everything would work. It was actually, I started in Visual Studio and I had trouble with some of the getting all the stuff operating together. And so I switched over to VS Code, which is fun anyhow. So here I'm going to take this, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it back in. I don't know if there's a smarter way to copy it.
There is. Do you have the functions extension installed?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could just do new function, new HTTP function.
Yeah. Okay. So that is true. Actually, so if I write,
but you don't have to. You've already done a copy. I mean, all it's going to do is give you like a boilerplate.
Yeah. And actually deploy. Yeah. So I do have deployed a function app. I do have that thing in. But yeah, so part of the reason I did this was because I'm going to, like, I have some stuff I'm going to reuse in here.
Okay.
Meaning like hooking up logger, dependency injection stuff, whatever. I noticed too, by the way, that I think we probably should set up an editor config at some point. But I don't know.
What for?
To set stuff like tabs, how far tabs are. Because I think on my machine, you know.
Yeah. What I mean? Yeah. What do you want them to be? What do you want them to be?
I usually go 4, but I think that's just because, you know.
I think they're 2.
I don't mind if it's 2. I just I was noticing every time I was typing stuff, it was like my defaults weren't matching what was there.
All right, hold on. No, yeah, I've got it set to 2.
Okay.
Is it not 2? Is it not formatting to 2?
But we don't have an editor config in the file, right?
No, but we have it in the VS Code. So there's a VS Code folder with the settings in it, and it's set there. So if you're using VS Code, now it's not cross.
It should be fine here. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So I'm going to do the route here is I'm going.
Wait, John. Should we call it validate page, or should we call it get OG info or something?
Okay, that was question number 1. I don't know. That is what it was called on the old one. I'm happy to change it.
Just because, like, if we're coming in and we don't know, we never worked with the API. Like, I'm really becoming a fan of these more specific function and class names, especially because Copilot functions better with that because it knows what you're trying to do. So if we called it the class get OpenGraph info.
Okay. So okay. I'm trying to think. Yeah, let's go with that then. Okay, so get open info. Okay. And so yeah, okay, cool. So that's that.
I mean, I know it's kind of verbose, but like you can just by looking at it, you know exactly what that thing is doing.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, it did bug me calling it validate page, but then I was like, well, I don't know. Okay, so so we'll do that. Get open graph info. Is that cool?
So yeah, except for this is API slash.
Or so
So
open graph API slash, what would you call it?
I would call it API slash. Oh, this is a good one. For a RESTful URL chat, what should we call this? It is performing an action, is performing a get. What is it getting? It's getting open graph info. So the get is implied.
So except this is actually a post. Why don't we just call it open graph info?
Yeah, or OG info. All lowercase.
OG info.
I do it all lowercase though. Yeah, because for REST URLs aren't case sensitive.
All right, so we're going info. I gotta say, I would prefer maybe open graph info then if we're doing like that. I don't know. And also, I will say we are calling them stuff like we're doing save on the other ones. We're doing stuff like there it is, uppercasing the second.
But that's the parameter.
All right. All right, we'll go with that. By the way, I like this thing with the scrolling now. I forget. Yeah. It is an Azure function. Yes, Warm Peas. We're doing an Azure function. All right, we'll start with
kill your terminal, John. Kill your terminal so there's more like screen real estate. Sorry, I'm being picky.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is it? Control tilde.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem. I have too many things. If I go view terminal.
There's actually an easier way. See the little buttons up on the top right-hand corner? There's like layout buttons. And there's one where the bottom is highlighted. Just click that, toggle it.
Sweet.
There you go.
Okay. All right. So let's go. And then I guess I could bump up the font size too.
Yeah, maybe like that's perfect. Yeah, that's good.
Cool. Okay. So, okay. So now let's get these all back lined up. So, open. Yeah, cool. I like that. So cool. Let's rename the class then. I'm just going to call it. Yeah.
Okay. But on the other functions, we're calling them delete links, get links, save links.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
You gotta change your function name.
Yeah, right. Fine.
I hate naming, man. It's such a ditch to
die in. Yep.
It's such a ditch to die in.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure. Well, whatever. Let's just keep copying and pasting and then start writing some actual stuff. What I will say is I'm excited about seeing how well I can get rid of this line. And then I can start willy-nilly deleting tons of stuff because that looks good. That looks good. So now I'm going to, starting about here, I'll just convert it to links and then we'll do our link. And this is not a link bundle, it is a link. So I'm being posted in a link. Yeah, I got to say, I go with Reggie, but maybe that's just because I'm more .NET-y. This feels like that's how I case it, but we'll go with this. We can rename.
You don't need to validate the payload anymore.
Yeah, so I can get rid of all this business. I'm a fan of collapsing things and then deleting like that, right? So that, and get rid of this. That's fun.
Copilot's like, hey.
It's like, I'm ready to play.
Perhaps Perhaps you meant this. You needed me?
Yeah. Okay, and then I'll delete all the other stuff down below. And then we can start actually writing stuff. And we can get rid of this function. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of basically the rest of the class. So
You
we
know,
can go.
while you delete this chat, don't you think that it was a missed opportunity for Microsoft not calling Copilot Clippy V2?
I used it is funny. I used to write blog posts, and that is something I have totally thought about. That it's like so. It is just it's a useful Clippy. That's all we wanted, right?
Right. It's what Clippy was supposed to be, right?
It's
And
right.
now it's actually helpful. But I think there's too much stigma attached to Clippy.
Yep, agreed.
Not in a good way.
Okay, so I actually originally wrote this. I don't know if this is going to work. Oh, let's rename the class also before, just in keeping with what you were saying. So what did we call this?
Get OpenGraph info. And now when Janiscu comes in here to do some work, he'll know exactly.
That's right. Speaking of which, that's another task we need to do is actually our README doesn't say how to run this locally. And there's a few things you need to set up. You need to create, you know what I mean? You need to create a Cosmos DB. You need a few settings.
Yeah.
We should document some of that stuff. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to create, use a client. Let me think through what I want to do. Basically, I want to pull the data from that link. So I'm going to just start writing some stuff and let Copilot know what I'm doing. So use and yeah, okay. Okay, all right.
And now why does it know that? Probably because of the function name.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were okay. So this is no, not helpful. We will use an HTTP at the page. We will use the AngleSharp library to parse the HTML. Now we're not going to, so what I don't think we need anything else than that. We can just basically read stuff off the page. So now let's do that. That's fine. We can convert that to using later. And then we'll say var response, yes. Okay. Now we have the response from the page. Now we need to no, I mean, I guess. Okay, fine. Might as well be good. Okay, so we're blazing through.
So basically, you are calling and getting the HTML from this page.
HTML. And all we have is HTML.
Now you're gonna read it.
Yep. Okay, so now we have just a big string. And the like super simplest way would be like use regular expressions or something like that. I really like AngleSharp. AngleSharp's a good, like, and I don't know, there's different like HTML parsing language or packages and different things. Do you have a favorite one in JavaScript land these days?
To parse HTML?
Yeah.
That's not something that we typically do in JavaScript. But if you had to, I think Mozilla's got one called, I forget the name of it, but that would be the one that comes to the top of my mind. In this case here, though, John, why are we not using the NuGet package for this? Isn't there a NuGet package that reads OpenGraph info?
Yeah, that is. So it is a NuGet package. And that was my question here is, do you know if the dev kit has like a handy way to say, pull in the NuGet package?
I don't think it has it yet. They have not added the NuGet browser yet.
Okay. So I am going to copy that because I'm going to save seconds of time.
Because like you don't really want to parse the HTML here. I mean, isn't that an unnecessary step?
Well, by parsing the HTML, I'm going to use, so what AngleSharp does is it basically says, create a document tree that I can like very quickly navigate through and just grab me links and stuff.
But don't you just want to parse you just want to parse the OpenGraph. Beautiful soup. Thank you, Gregory. Yeah, this is it.
I was thinking
That's
beautiful
right.
soup. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. So, but you're parsing the. We don't actually need to do that.
So when I say parse, it's like it's a pretty lightweight parse. It's basically like loaded into something that I can say, "Go get me this tag." Like, let me know if you're happy with the code once I get more of it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, so now.
So sorry, John. One more question. There is an OpenGraph NuGet package, though. Are you going to use that?
So I looked at that. I'm not going to.
Okay.
What the OpenGraph NuGet package does is it uses AngleSharp.
Okay. So it's doing this. All right.
It was basically so, but also it's a cool NuGet package. What it also does is it allows creating and emitting OpenGraph. So it's basically like you've got a website, you want to expose the right OpenGraph stuff. I'll generate the tags for you. You know what I mean? Which we don't need. We only want to parse the tags out. And for parsing the tags out, it was actually using AngleSharp. So, okay, so now we can do this cool stuff. We can say, get the title. And so what AngleSharp lets you do is stuff like query selector, right? Like,
okay.
Yep. So now, okay, I will say somebody needs to write like a go delete all the meaningless comments. Okay, so this actually is wrong. And I ran into this before, and this is useful to check out. So this is saying get the description, meta description, content. And if we look at what OGP does, so we can actually look, it's OG description, meta property OG description.
OG colon description.
OG colon description. And this did something slightly different. Now I'm going to let it go because when it gets the image, it's going to show the way it should have done.
Yeah, that's it. Property.
So exactly. So we want OG. So this is one of those great examples of like, it helps you write code and it's not always right. And you still need to know what you're doing, you know? So here, this is OG description. And then we actually have a small like overlap, and I'm not sure what's best here. There's actually, if we go back to, this is interesting. When I switch, if I make this, no, it's not updating. Did it, when I?
No. Did you share only your VS Code window?
This is interesting. I've done this twice now. I was like, because the first time I second guessed myself, I'm sharing the entire window, entire screen. Let me see. I must have done it wrong again. Okay. All right. Now let's go back, add to stage. It's happening now. Third time's a charm. Yay. Okay. So we actually have two ways we could read the description. The description is in two places here. There's like a meta description, and there's also some pages have that, but this one I think, or sorry, title.
OG title. Yeah, we need to check for both.
So which one supersedes? There's title and there's OG title.
I mean, title is the one is what every page should have.
Yeah. So that's what I thought too. So I think what we want to do is we want to say if not found. So I'll say if the title isn't found, read it from the OG title tag. All right. So that's looking right there, right? So this actually is. Oh, by the way, this is interesting. Janisku's bringing something up. I was thinking about this, but I didn't say it at the time. So on Tuesday, we did a Blazor experiments thing with McKinnon Buck and Steve Sanderson on the ASP.NET Community Stand-Up. McKinnon showed off a NuGet package he's building, which I was thinking I should tell you about, Bert, because it's pretty interesting. It's a thing that makes it easier to integrate JavaScript into Blazor. He built it for .NET 8, and it's a kind of experimental NuGet package. I wouldn't be surprised if they added in to Blazor and .NET 9. They're doing some early experiments. Another neat thing that Steve Sanderson showed on the show was some more stuff with WASI. Have you looked at WASI at all? So WASI is, short detour here, but WASI is, if you think it's like a containerization and interop thing at the app level instead of at the machine level. So instead of, like, Docker is cool, but it's still like basically virtualizing sort of a whole Linux box sort of thing, right? And then WASI is like, makes it so you can make like if you want to package up a single JavaScript file into an interoperable thing, you can basically reuse it from Rust or Go or whatever. It's all for WebAssembly, like packaging and application stuff. But so Docker is cool, but like Docker images are still 100 meg or whatever. If you do stuff in WASI, they're like 4K, 3K, whatever. And it's all for like shipping things that work together with WebAssembly. And part of what's neat with that is some of the cloud providers, Microsoft's got some stuff going with this, Cloudflare, some other people, to actually do runners in WebAssembly. So you could picture like azurefunctions deploying just super tiny lightweights. And they're also scoped so that they're very, the security level is really locked down. So like now in a Docker container, you're basically shipping things with like machine level capabilities, and you have file system, right, and all that. And WASI is scoped at the like application. I'm sorry, big rant, but it's super interesting stuff. I can't wait to see where it goes.
I don't understand any of that stuff.
Well,
all I know is angle brackets and CSS classes, and anything beyond that is too hard for me.
Well, I guess one other way to like contextualize it is if you think about JavaScript modules, right? And this work that they've done to say like, hey, we can do like these ESM modules, and they're really like, it's just what you need, right? And so, it's easy to kind of reuse and interop and stuff like that. And now it's like doing a similar sort of thing for WebAssembly. And I'm sure anyone that, so. Okay, cool. So I think this is actually looking pretty good. I'm going to go through, now that we have all this stuff, I personally feel like all these comments are redundant once you've got the code written. I don't know. Do you end up deleting your prompts?
It depends, right? So like, if I feel like it's not obvious from the code what it's doing, I will add a comment. Other than that, I don't. Right? Like var parser equals, obviously that's parsing the HTML. That's
right. That's what I'm saying.
Right. Getting the HTML. That's very obvious.
It's like, okay, yeah, I'm reading HTML. So
one thing I do that's different though is that I put line breaks in between conceptual blocks, right? So I put a line break between HTML between like document and then the section where you start parsing out all the pieces.
So that does make sense right there, because there we're like switching from, now we have the stuff, now let's parse out the stuff. So that's all. That makes sense. I think like here, also check the status code. That's a little obvious. Create a client. Yeah, that's obvious. And I don't even know, really. This feels like, okay.
Yeah. Look, but I mean, you can't get away from JavaScript, right? Surly Dev, like this was the problem back with web forms, was it's like, hey, you don't have to mess with HTML and JavaScript, except you do. And here's now how you can do that. And there was all these companies making these components that like abstracted the JavaScript for you, so you didn't have to worry about it, because it was that hard to do.
The whole like JavaScript thing in .NET land, I don't know. I feel like sometimes we talk about it wrong. Like I know from a marketing point of view, it's hard to say, okay, Blazor runs on WebAssembly, but it also can run on the server, and it brings you all these. It's like people don't want to hear 15 minutes of explanation. They want to say, why should I care? And so then people started saying, well, Blazor, you can write a whole web app without relying on JavaScript. But that's not, like, JavaScript's awesome, and there's tons of great libraries.
So this is the fundamental problem, is that JavaScript itself is kind of a joke of a language. Like, it just is, right? Like, let's just be honest, it just is, or was, right? Like, it was created in like 10 days, right? It lacks proper everything, you can just kind of do whatever you want. It's gotten a lot better, right? With like ES6. And I say this as a JavaScript developer. I love JavaScript. But the thing is, when I think a lot of people coming from proper languages like C# or Java are like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not writing scripts. I'm building real applications. And that's a mental model, right? That you just have to change and be like, you can write real applications in JavaScript. In fact, we're writing a Blazor application with an application written in JavaScript. So
yeah, it's true.
That's kind of ironic.
It's I think it's like, it's a tool you can use for doing cool stuff. You can, I think, being able to like have the best, like, it's additive, right? So now it's like, hey, if I'm writing logic and I'm reusing types and stuff, maybe that's easier to do with C# and better and more robust. But then I can also okay.
This is such a good point, though, right? Like, they're hitting on essentially the thing that's so frustrating for people, which is that, like, look, you JavaScript developers add a new freaking framework every 6 months. Like, it's disgusting out there. It is. I don't know what to tell you. Some of them have some longevity, like React, Vue, Angular, but even there, like the religious wars between those different things are pretty intense.
Yeah.
Very, like, even like, this is a great one. Just like, if you're on Twitter, like, the HTMX debacle is crazy. Like, the guy who wrote HTMX is a very interesting library. And we should actually talk about this at some point. You can keep coding if you want to, John. I'm just talking here, but
I'm writing grunt code, so you talk.
Good. So this poor guy who authored this library is just constantly catching shade on Twitter, right? And all he did was suggest that maybe you should do things this way, right? And for y'all who don't know
HTMX, it's like a little bit more. You put tags on things, and it adds interactivity using like HTML meta, or like properties on HTML tags, right?
Right. Well, yeah. What you do is basically it's like you're composing a server-side application on the front end, right? And so what it's doing is it's calling your API and getting HTML fragments and inserting those into the page, right? So that's how HTMX works, and all it's doing is saying, perhaps you want to consider building your app this way, and people just melt down. And it's like, look, y'all, pick the thing like Chuckles. It sounds like JavaScript isn't for you. That's totally fine. Pick the thing that is. Yeah, best tool for the job. I agree. I, on the other hand, prefer JavaScript. And if I had my own way, I would write this whole thing from front to back in JavaScript.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. And I think kind of a best of both. I mean, it's fun to take an opportunity to learn some stuff. And then I do think it's nice to see some places where, like, that sortable JavaScript work best there,
Yeah. But, so Chuckles, no, you can't. So I don't know, right? This is a good question for like Steve Sanderson. Like, regarding fragments, can you insert Blazor components? Like, I don't think so. If you're running on the server, those are already being rendered to HTML, but you can imagine that you want to go out and grab some fragment of HTML from the server and just insert it into your page. But no, I don't think it can be a Blazor component because that stuff's already been rendered. Dynamic component.
I don't know.
Oh, maybe it can then. Maybe you can if you like. Can you do that, Janiscu? Can you pull in a component and then render it?
Yeah, so you
in real time.
I'm not sure if I wasn't completely paying attention, but you can use Blazor components as web components inside of JavaScript, like inside of React and Angular and stuff. I don't know if that was what we were talking about.
Right. So there's a micro front end that works on Blazor. Oh, like HTMX.
Oh.
Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I was in awe of JS when Google Maps came out. Yeah, I mean,
I mean, Google really showed the way of what you could do. So, I mean, but before that, like the one of the old OG like front end apps actually was like Outlook Web. So
Yes, that's where Ajax comes from.
right, and people don't really, and I mean, it was overcomplicated. It was, but that was the invention of Ajax, basically, right?
Right.
And then, but it was, people don't get excited about doing their email, but really, it was an interactive web client, and it was doing all this crazy stuff. Like it was creating ActiveX COM objects to post stuff. I mean, at the very first beginning of it.
Can you imagine being a developer on that team trying to make something work on the web like that back then? Can you imagine being a dev on Google on Gmail? When Gmail came out, it was the first like single page application, and there were no frameworks. There was no cross-browser compatibility, and they did it anyway. That must have been a nightmare.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I think basically we have a thing. We don't handle the cases. Well, actually we do. Return request, create response. Yeah. So I think, is this done?
That's it? You're good to go?
I think so.
Okay.
Let me think real quick. Because I have some sample code I wrote. Yeah, this is very similar to what I wrote before. I think we're kind of good. Now we could run this and test it with Thunder Client. If you want to, let's do that. So I'm going to bring up, okay, so I toggle this back on. I start my function. I'm going to confess, I chased my tail for way too long yesterday because I was using the wrong ports. So my Blazor app would not talk to my function.
Because we changed it to 4280.
Yeah.
So
I was running them both separately, but it needed to be at 4280 because 42. So I needed to run the SWA proxy thing, and then it was all good. So I can go into here.
Sorry, I did introduce that change. It's probably my fault.
It's the right. Okay, come on now. Fatspot, that's nice. What is Fatspot? Start. There we go. Okay. Func start. Then I can run the Thunder client. So let's bring this up. Thunder client. I have a post set to go as soon as that's ready. So let's. Okay, it's.
You already got it back.
Well, this is no
previous testing.
That was from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
So, how do I clear the response? Let's go send.
Hold on, our pictures are in the. How do I move us?
Yeah, you're right. Do you want me to move us to the side?
Wait, there we go. I got it. Did it.
Okay. Send not found. Oh, because this was my old when I called it validate page.
And you're also going, oh yeah, 7071's right. So, and now it's OG info.
OG info. Okay. And what I'm sending in is so it's a link with an ID. It's got a URL and nothing else. So if all goes right, it's going to go look this stuff up.
John, collapse your bottom panel again, just to give us more real estate.
All right. That's a good habit. There. Okay. So there we go. Let's send it.
Hey.
That's cool, right?
Happy holidays.
Yeah, look at that. So we got the image, we got all the stuff. Okay, so we got the back end set. Now we need to implement on the front end. I've been doing all this in main, which is not great.
Janisco approves of your work. Hashtag sign off.
Nice. Okay. So let's create a new. If I create a new branch, that's going to want to pull it over, right?
Yeah. If you create a new branch, you can just nothing changes. You're fine. It'll pull all your stuff over.
Good. Okay.
Automatically. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do open Graph. Implement OpenGraph. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So because of that, now I want to commit my stuff. So let's go in, just because I bit myself this past week by not doing that. Okay. So add.
Wait. What are you doing?
I'm just committing to my local. I'm not pushing.
You got to let Copilot write the commit message.
Oh, you're right. Okay. It's like, what do you have thought of me again? Okay.
See what it does. See what it gives you. Add AngleSharp package reference. Not quite. Nope.
I mean, that's technically correct, but not helpful.
Wait a minute. Take this out.
Okay.
Stage your changes.
Okay.
Do it again.
Stage.
Now hit the button again. Yeah, I'm just curious.
Okay. All right. Okay, good. All right. This is good. I gotta train myself to do that. I'm still working. Okay, so now let's get back to our front end. Let's go look at the front end. It is time to start. Why does it say I got changes? Delete. I shouldn't have changes here. I don't have changes. I don't know what's happening. So okay, let's close that. I'm on implement OpenGraph. I'm a little confused. Okay. I'm on my edit page and I don't think I've made
changes. It's not changed. You got two problems.
Two problems. This is likely because I'm planning to change this and maybe I've done something. So I originally looked at some different places where we could do this work. And so now this is an interesting question. I don't think we want to do it from state container. That looked like the easy way to do it, but I have concerns here. One is I can't use the HTTP client factory. Also, because this is a singleton and the client and the HTTP client is this is singleton and client is scoped. So that's an issue.
So I don't think it should be done here, although
we are doing it.
We are doing it here, but there's actually a better reason why we don't want to do it here, which we'll talk about later.
Okay.
But I do think that we should talk about like what does get done here. Does this thing just contain the state, or does it also mutate the state? In other words, if we're ever going to change the state, it has to be changed from here. We can't just mutate the state from the application. Yeah, and then the question is, well, why would you want to do that?
So I do know some, like there are some more like prescriptive, big state patterns for, like there's in React and there's different, like there's Fluxor and there's all these like different, like state package things. And I know there are some for Blazor and they do more kind of like, I'm the state god, I don't know. I kind of feel like it's nice to have it be like lightweight. I do feel like it is. We're doing a little of both though, because we are having some things happen here. But then I did notice in the edit page where also there's some places like here we do add link to bundle. But then if you go to the index page, we directly add it to the thing. We don't
doing it both ways.
Yeah. I kind of do feel like we should go with the pattern of pages shouldn't be reaching into the state container and modifying things. They should be going through a single function. They
should be asking the state container to modify itself and passing in the parameters. The thing about it is why?
So I think one nice thing is when I'm going in and making a change, it was a little confusing for me to look at this and go like, okay, who's messing with the state? Like this feels like it's okay, but it's starting to feel like an anti-pattern where you're going into, I'm reaching deep into a sub collection inside the state container and directly adding a link, you know, and then.
So I agree. It does feel awkward. I'll give you another reason that you kind of get forced into this pattern. That line right there does not fire notify state has changed.
And we can get away with it here because it's on the index page.
Exactly. But that's the issue is that you won't know if a state change is triggered if you do it this way.
Yep.
But if you do it inside of the state container, it always is because we're always calling it.
So I would propose a few things. One is let's go into the state container. And first of all, this should call into the state container. Secondly, I do want to change. We've got a little bit of weirdness where some things are taking links. Add link to bundle is the only one that takes just a string. And it would be easier for me as a user, if this takes a link also.
Okay, yeah, change it. Let's change it.
Okay. The reason for that is because then I have a reference to the link. And so I can immediately, after calling it, I can say update link or whatever, right?
This is good. We'll fix these things as we go here.
Yep. Okay, so that is a thing. So we so then let's go back and let's fix where we broke it. So if we go here, so that's fine. Then we'll say link var.
Yeah.
And then we'll say link. Cool. And then this is unhappy because we need a using. What?
This always irritates me. I'm like, come on. Sure. You don't need an AI for this.
Oh yeah, it's because okay. So I'm not using a constructor where I need to say so I need a new link, and then
you just need using Blazor shared at the top. Blazor app shared.
I don't think we have.
No, that's right. There is no constructor for this, so we can make one, or you can just do the inline.
Yeah. So I can do all that and then just get rid of all that.
I actually like this syntax better than having these goofy constructors.
Yeah, it's a little more clear.
Put a space after URL or I'm gonna lose my mind.
What if I do?
It's even worse.
Yeah, worse?
No. Go back. Space. And then another space after the bracket.
Ooh, okay.
And then one after the URL. That's how I like to see it.
Giving it a lot of error. Okay.
And actually, the C# dev kit should be formatting this stuff, but it ain't.
I don't know. Okay, so there's that in the edit. Now we have also in the index. And here we're going to now say state container.add link.
Yeah, state container.add link.
So here I'll do it again. We have to watch var link. Oh, look, it learned. Okay. It was like, I don't want to watch. So now we'll do this. It's trying to. Okay.
No, it's add link to bundle. Copilot's recommending to you things that don't exist.
Hallucinating.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have the question of when we call into update OpenGraph. The property link should be a read-only. That's kind of true. The property links should be a read-only collection to enforce what we're saying. That's what Elizabeth is saying.
The property links. Hold on, sorry. I keep putting it up. You put it up.
Okay.
There we go. The property link should be a read-only collection only. What does she mean by that?
So if we go into the state container, the property links.
Link bundle? Because link bundle contains links. We never work with links outside of a link bundle.
Yeah. So this is, instead of making it like this should be a read only. So we should not allow you should have to go through setter.
So it would be public read-only link bundle?
I'm not sure the best way to handle that.
Elizabeth, tell us what to do.
Yeah, right. And it's technically correct, and also I'm like, I don't know. We could enforce it through the setter, or we could probably do read only on the base field. But okay. So, but my question is, do we want to? We don't want to have the state container hit the OpenGraph API endpoint. So I don't think, or do we?
No, we do not want to do that stuff in the state container. No.
Okay. So now the question is, we could, so I think we immediately, once we create the link, we say, that's cool, add it to the thing. Now, I think we also want to say, update the link from the OGP info and so it's trying to get us to do that. What I did before was I actually created a separate function, but then we end up implementing the function in a few places. Let's talk it through one more time. Why don't we want to do it in the state container? Just because it's kind of making the state container do too much?
Because you lose the injected HTTP client, which is not the end of the world, but also because at some point in the future, I'm going to introduce a second state container that is going to do nothing but abstract away HTTP calls. And the reason that we're going to do that is because we're going to have this indicator on the site that just spends whenever there's activity, and it tracks, because you could add link, add link, add link. You don't need to wait for the OpenGraph to come back. So you can have multiple requests going at one time, and the application needs to keep up with that. And so we're going to have, and that static, that singleton, that state container, that HTTP, we're going to use that directly from components.
Okay. So it's interesting. All the stuff I see, like the Blazor docs and everything, they like to call it HTTP. I would naturally call it client, but that's fine. I can go with this. So, okay, Elizabeth is saying the best way would be to make the return a read-only collection type. But then I got to think about read-only collections. It's probably going to break some stuff. So the idea is when we do a get, it doesn't return just a link bundle. It returns like, or our link bundle is, our base link bundle thing is read-only. That starts getting a little tricky because we're reusing those things on the property or on the client and server.
Y'all are over my head. I'm just a simple JavaScript developer. I don't know what any of that means.
Okay. So now I want to say create or use the HTTP.
But for Elizabeth here, should this be something that we go back and implement and do correctly, or what? At some point, the read-only stuff. John's like, let me call this HTTP.
Right? Okay.
Just do it.
Var. So this is kind of not right. Var response equals await HTTP dot post, which states an async, and we want to post the link.
You're patching. You're patching.
Not. Oh, we decided we're not doing that. We are doing that. That looks beautiful to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do.
Okay. That's funny. It took a little back and forth. Okay, so it's going to say it's not going to be able to wait because we didn't do async task. Okay. All right, that is making me happy. Okay, so now we don't have a separate OG. So the old thing, the old instance of this, I don't know if I have this. Let's look at the old code.
It had an OpenGraph class, I assume.
We had an, but I kind of feel like it's not necessary.
We don't need that. We just need to parse it back into the link. That's what you're sending back.
We're
That's
only
what we
getting
need out
true
of it.
fields back. Yeah. Okay. So let's go back in here. So now I think I can say var is post. It's returning it's returning a JSON. It's returning link. So I need to say the response is a link object in JSON. Parse it into a link object, please. I've heard crazy stuff. People talk about like the whole prompt engineering thing, and now they have actually like AI is actually doing some of the more prompt engineering stuff itself. So you give it a, but like people are getting different results if you say, do not like, depending how you ask the question, like I will give you $200 if you get this answer for me or whatever.
Oh,
and it works
like
harder.
Incentivizing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I find I get better results if I'm like, I've done this before. I'm like, this will be seen by a lot of people. This is quite important, right?
Okay.
And then I get a higher quality result that way. The other thing that I've learned, and I learned this from taking a class on prompt engineering, which I think is kind of it's like a glorified term for just trying different prompts, but don't ask the model. Models are really bad at not doing things. They are much better at doing things. And so if you want it to stop using emoji, instead of saying, don't use emoji, tell it to do something, which is avoid using emoji. These are two different things. If you say, don't use emoji, it's like, you can't tell me what to do. But if you say avoid using emoji, it's like, I know how to do that.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Link dot image. Okay.
I need to get more coffee, John, while you finish this up. My coffee's cold.
Okay, I think we're actually getting close-ish. We still need to handle the. I need to get coffee too. Maybe we can work in shifts. Okay.
Well, we got
cool. All right, you run and get coffee. I got it.
All right, you got it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to clean up some of these. Okay, that's fine. Yes. Do that. Okay, the one thing I want to say is if response fails, now request fails, just return. Async. I don't, or no, if I want to say if it's not equal to null, then do the stuff. That's what I want it to do. That feels better to me. Okay. Put that. That's, I love it. Okay. That on earth. Okay. So that is looking like that would work. I think we can test this out. And then the one other thing we'll need to do is probably re-implement this again on the homepage, because we have a weird thing where when you type in a new link on the homepage, it's supposed to be like, get started now. You type in a link and it adds it to the thing and redirects you over to the edit list. And we need to do that coming from there too. Here, we need to await. And then because of that, we need to async.
Back.
Okay. I think we're ready to test all this out only on the edit page. It won't work on the index page. We can basically duplicate this code onto the index page and call it there. Okay, so here's my rumblings in the brain thing going on. We could either duplicate this code on the index page and hope we think of a smarter thing later, and basically do the exact same thing on the index. Or we could like abstract it in some way. It's just weird because it's like interaction. You know what I'm saying? This is good. This works on the edit page. But if you add a new link on the index page, we also need that logic to run. So it's okay with me if we duplicate it and then put a note.
What if we don't do any of that?
Then if we don't, then when you come to the edit page, you've got a new link added and it never looks up that OpenGraph stuff.
Okay, but so it's added in, and we talked about this, it's added in the new link component. That's actually a component. So yeah. If we new link, what we could do is on valid submit, instead of passing a URL to the model, we could call the OpenGraph there, or create a new link, pass that link back, call the OpenGraph, and then bubble up the event. In other words, like do all the work in new link and then just go ahead and call up.
Okay. Does it even need to call up? It just needs to say.
It does because it needs to navigate, right? Like that page, that's why we call up, is because that it needs to add the new link and then navigate to the new page. But when this component is used in our other page, all it does is add the new link. It doesn't actually navigate anywhere.
Okay. That sounded scary to me. Is this a lot of work that we need to do? And so it's in on valid submit. So we could, do you want to talk me through it? We could, I think.
So what we can do here is go to your new link component where you just were. So what we could try to do here is instead on valid submit, create a new link object.
Okay.
The first thing you do in the function.
Okay. In on valid submit, var link.
Yep.
That's just a little ugly.
That's fine. And then, right, okay, now,
could we move that task, that update link thing?
That's what I'm saying. See, I don't know how this works. Like if you bubble up here, it keeps running, right? It's going to run the stuff below it. So at this point, you invoke async and you pass the link. You don't actually pass the URL. We're going to change the parameter here. So you're going to invoke async and you're going to pass the link object that you just created back up.
Okay. So I'm going to invoke async on new link added.
Yes.
Okay. So this is this event callback.
Yeah. Type link.
Link. Okay.
And then change it down there
to link.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Now, after that line.
Okay, just a second. Let's get rid of some stuff. Yes.
So here, now what you're going to do is you're going to do what you were doing in the edit page.
So, okay. So what I did in the edit page, let me copy this over. The one thing I feel like is it looks so neat when it works. I hope this works because it's fun to see it actually go. So
well, you could just copy it and you would just leave it just in case we have to come back here. It's not gonna.
Okay. Okay, cool. So let's go here. Let's copy this in.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you want to put it below the, right there. And then you want to call that update link as like the last thing.
Can I inject the HTML?
Yeah, you can just inject it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why IJS runtime isn't used here. You can just take that out. Okay.
Oh, we
So-
were using that for navigation a long time ago.
So then the last thing you want to do after you reset the model and do new link input and focus async, the last thing you want to do in this method is call that update link.
Okay, so we're keeping all this stuff. Do we want to do, all right, I'm trusting you. Wait.
Right. Now, the question is,
Will it work?
will this actually work? Because here the link's getting updated, but it's happening.
And then also, does this need to call like
State has changed? I would assume.
But can this directly call state has changed?
Yes.
Okay. And he runs out on me. After all this crazy code, I have no idea if this will work. So I guess in order to test this out, number one, we're going to need to, I think, comment this out. Because otherwise we're doing it twice. And then now it's like, why are you async? But whatever, I think it'll be fine.
All right, sorry, I'm back.
Okay, cool. I got all scared. So I've commented this out on the edit page, right? Because we don't need to call update link there. We've got the code there just in case. I can delete this. What do you think?
I just commented out in case none of this works because you're just gonna have to put it all back.
All right. What is
or just leave it. It doesn't hurt anything. It's not doing anything. It's not being called anywhere. Yeah.
Okay, this should like magically work, hopefully. Maybe.
There's no way.
Now let me go over back into my terminal. Let's see what we got running. The function, I believe, is still going. It's just been cranking away.
Fine.
So now the client we can start running. So to do that, I actually hope this will work. I'm going to go in and I'm going to try and do the debug. I'm going to do launch and debug Blazor WebAssembly. I had like, sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't for me. And I think it came down to more of the browser interop stuff, like actually launching the browser or if the port was in use or whatever.
Yeah, sometimes it's like the browser's already running and you're like, no, it isn't. And you're just in a jacked state.
I actually one time got so upset I just rebooted my machine and then it was like, still didn't work.
It happened to us during .NET Conf, during our session.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, is this going? See, there we go.
Yeah.
So
I would just run it
on
the terminal.
What on earth is happening?
Debugging is a luxury you don't have.
I don't need to debug at this point, I don't think. Let's go back over here. Let's go back. So what I did yesterday was I did, well, I can do this, .NET. I also, so I'm supposed to do .NET Watch. That's what they say. But I find sometimes it gets stuck in this like building and then it doesn't actually start.
I've not seen that, but.
You never see that?
No.
See, it's
it sticks right here. Yeah, this actually, that's taking a lot more time than mine usually does. Yeah.
So if I just do instead, if I do Control-R, then it seems to run. So I don't know. Okay, so let's bring up a new browser window. Let's go here. Let's go localhost. Oh, and this is where I need to be Y's.
You need to
and
start the
also
emulator.
Start the emulator. So let's go SWA. Yep, that's all good. Ah. So this is because, like, to autocomplete, I should be able to do shift right arrow.
Just a tab.
It doesn't do it.
What? Why not? What? Just right arrow then?
Okay, if I do right arrow, so that's, yeah, okay. Okay. Emulator happening, things are going. Great suspense. We want to do localhost 4280, which is our SPA proxy endpoint. Nothing's happening. It's probably because things are still spinning up. Waiting for 5,000 to be ready.
Yeah, you got an error here. It's not actually running. What's wrong?
Okay, so I'm just going to do .NET run.
No, there's like an error in the actual code.
Sure.
Yeah, look at your problems view.
Problems. Right.
See, so in index, we need to, I believe we need to change the signature of new link added to receive a link instead of a string.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Link. Weird, my my L key is not working. That's not helpful. My keyboard's creeping out. Let me copy from another place that's doing that.
Wow.
So I have one of these fancy keyboards. Okay, where was it? Is it here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just take that out.
Okay. Okay. Now can I build?
I believe you still have another error.
Oh. Is this, so that's still a thing?
That's an edit. Same thing going on here.
I like this a lot better. We're not newing up the link everywhere, you know?
Right.
Ah, but it's what? Oh, okay. Okay. Blazor, unknown word. Okay, so now we're looking good.
Yep.
.NET build. Funny, it's like I have Poshgit and it's like and other stuff. Okay, good. That's all
I think
good.
.NET run is what you need, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You were just like preemptively doing a build?
Yeah, I just sometimes I like to actually just run the build, see it finish. Now it's like, okay. Like 2 steps, you know? Okay. So this is the fun where we get to see if you actually go into SWA.
I think you need to restart your emulator. Yeah. There we go. You don't actually, well, I mean, you don't need the emulator to test this, but you do.
I don't. The one reason is, so the one reason that I ran into is because the API endpoint is, the client has a setting for where to find the API endpoint.
Right. We changed it, and so now you have to use the emulator to put the two together.
And that is specifically in.
It's app settings.development.
Yeah. There it is. So it's in here. So this is where I was chasing my tail because I was like, why isn't it hitting 7071? And it's like, because it wasn't going there. Okay, so now let's see. Is this going yet? Come on, it's loading. That's looking exciting. Okay, so now let's go. If This is the
you gotta
moment
do
of
it from
truth.
here. Yeah.
So let's pick a thing.
Okay. So what's the error?
Okay. So first of all, I need to move us off the screen there so we can go here. Let's go here. Let's inspect to see what it says in the console.
What does it say?
Input does not contain any JSON tokens. So this is in.
To start with a valid JSON token when it's finally true. So look at your network requests.
Yeah. Okay. So wait a second. This is in new link, line 39. Oh, okay. Network requests.
Oh, you didn't. None were captured. Try adding. Refresh this page here and just add a new link, and see what happens. You should get the same error. Oh, did it kill the emulator?
Did it explode? That's still going.
It's still running.
Function still running. That's still running.
Oh.
I don't know.
What happens if you just open a new tab? It's like your whole tab's dead.
Yeah, it's very unhappy to say the least. Localhost.
4280.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Now open your and let's see, because I want to see if it's actually making that request and what we're getting back.
Okay.
There it is, OG info. So we did if fetch happened.
Why did it fetch?
Well, a fetch is just the browser fetching.
Okay.
The payload, that's right. The response
ID and URL were good.
Go back to the headers. Did it do a post?
I don't see. I mean, we did. I know we called the post method.
I forget where it shows up in there.
Well, it has a payload, so that's going to be something, right? Titles.
I don't know. I'd have to look at it in my own. See where it is.
Okay, let me look at the line. So it says line 32 and then 38. So let's look at those. So if we go into our new link, post as JSON async link. Should be right. Let me look real quick. Because I have some sample code where I did get this working. Oh, that's not the right one. Is this right? Okay. If I go to that, so I was going from edit and it was doing.
Yeah, but your function's not returning anything. If you look at your func tab in the terminal, do you see an error? Because literally the function threw an error.
When did it run? No, this hasn't been called for a while.
Go back to the browser.
I don't think it actually made the call. I think it tried to post as JSON and it didn't work.
No, it did. It definitely did make the call, right? You're looking at it there in the browser.
Oh yeah.
So what is the error?
It is. Yeah.
No. In the is it like a 500? Is it a 401? What is it? think if you expand this,
So
you can
it's
see
weird
more.
because it just,
If you expand this panel, John, I think you can see more info here.
okay. It's
And
really
actually,
weird.
click on
It
that
says
little
we're-
X next to headers.
X next to headers, yeah?
Yeah, here, click that. Okay, so it did a fetch.
Why did it do a
What
fetch?
the heck?
That's what I was saying earlier. That should be a post.
Well, a fetch is just it's just what the browser uses to do a.
Fetch is like a new thing they're using in .NET 8. We didn't update this to .NET 8, but fetch is like a new. It's different than a post, I would think, and I would expect it to say something. I would expect it to say. It just says type. I don't know. Maybe it does say post here.
That's it. So it did a post to OG info.
It's there. Error internet disconnected.
Failed to fetch.
This is not helpful.
I mean, it's as if your function's not returning.
Maybe the function's not returning correctly. Let's take
See,
a look.
fetch is a native browser network request, right?
But we did call it. Yeah. Okay. So we did call it from the Thunder. Let's try it from Thunder Client again.
Okay, but copy in that same payload.
Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so that's this. Let's copy the payload. Payload is that. I don't know if there's an easy way to copy this. Oh, view source. Copy. Okay, now we're in Thunder Client. Thunder Client, I need to change. I mean, this will work as either, including 7071. Okay, so let's go there. Let's get rid of that. Copy in that. Let us post it. It works.
So what's happening here?
So the post works from there, but it's not working from when called from new link. And we're calling await HTTP. See, this is where I wish I could debug it. You know what I mean? I'd love to be able to step through. So it's calling API OGP info, but it didn't show it.
OGP info? It's just OG info.
Oh my gosh. Burke, I think that's it.
I win the internet.
Okay, I just want to say, I want to call it OG info. I mean, OpenGraph info. I think it just felt better to me. Maybe I would have.
Wait, you saying that bug is my fault because we didn't call it what you wanted to call it?
No.
Astounding.
I will retract that statement. You win the internet.
You're right. You're right. See, that's how you get into making those errors, though. But again, I mean, you could misspell OpenGraph.
Well, so that's why I like when we're pair programming is to say what feels good to you, what makes sense to you, because you want to get the right, like, you know what I mean? Like, but to me, all lowercase OGP info looks a lot like all lowercase OG info. Like, whereas if you do full words with capitals in there and stuff, it's a little more, but you know, I mean, it's a different, like, there's different naming styles too. Like in different, you know, you do more JavaScript stuff. So I kind of want to make this what seems normal there too. Let's see if this works.
It's just gonna hang. You're gonna have to open a new tab. This is like WebAssembly land.
Yeah.
Troubles.
Okay. Localhost. We got to change our fave icon too. Okay. It's a big moment of truth. Let's go. Well, it didn't blow up.
All right. So open the browser tab, the browser tools, to see if the request gets made, since we can do another one.
Yeah.
That's good.
So what I saw here, let's do Andrew Locke. Okay. OG info. It's getting back. So that's this was weird. Do you see it? It got the response there, but now it got an unhandled error.
What is it? Go back up. Scroll up. What's the response on that?
What is happening? That totally should have worked. I've tested this out like payload. It's got an ID. It's got a URL.
Scroll up on your error.
Scroll up on my error.
Failed to fetch.
Failed to fetch. I'm still suspicious of this fetch business. And it's on, yeah, it's on that line 38.
It's the same spot. Well,
here's another weird thing just to look at. This, when I called the second time, it updated the first one.
Right, it redrew. It updated, so it actually did work, kind of.
It had the data. I wanted to see if it would update the other one.
No, now it's just failing routinely.
So I want to see, I'm not sure my pull request, if the pull request finished, I want to show what it at least looks like. Because we do need to factor this in. Oh, didn't finish running. It says I've got to go in and delete a slot. So I don't know how much we want to keep trying to do. I'm honestly kind of at a loss. I'm not sure why it's doing that. I feel like we may need to spend some time debugging to figure it out. Because we have the payload works. We tested it from Thunder Client. So that works. When we call it from here, await. So we're calling that HTTP post as JSON async. The endpoint's correct. The thing's correct. And it's not returning there, right? I guess we could check. We could do more checking, like, is it a response status code correct, whatever, and we could like output more.
Scroll up a little bit. So now I don't understand how async works in C#, but if you say await, are you not telling it to not do anything until that finishes?
Yes, that's true.
So right, like you don't want to wait until, you don't want to await update link. No, you do, because then you want to call state has changed.
Yeah, but you do want to make sure all this other stuff happens correctly first. Is this all good to have this change first? I think so.
Yeah, because we're not modifying link anywhere. So do this. Go back to your browser. Let's try this.
Okay.
I think it's just the way that we're trying to make this call. And because we're breaking, because WebAssembly is like just barfing for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So grab that URL out of the browser, that /s/edit. Just grab the whole thing.
Yeah.
Put it in a new tab. And let's just start from this page.
The other way you can get there is if you click on new, it does that too. Okay, so just starting here.
Right, and open your browser tools.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
failed to fetch?
You can add a Blazor. So Chicken Man has some ideas.
You can use a Blazor server project to debug the WASM code.
That is true.
So why is it failing to fetch localhost 4280/API/OG info? Does your terminal show anything in terms of functions throwing an error?
That's a great question.
Scroll up.
I have not restarted this in a while. I don't think. Oh, that says
it's calling it. It's just
let's okay, so this one was 242. So I'm gonna go through and do another one and see if this shows something after that too. So it didn't call it there, right?
It's not calling it, but it called it. It has successfully worked at least one time.
Let's stop.
I saw it.
Okay.
This just doesn't make a lot of sense.
So this is, I just want to make sure like all the parts are hooking together here. Is this? Okay. So we have the function running. Should I restart this guy? We have the client running. There's an error disconnected. Yeah, I'm just wondering about like, are all the things running?
Yeah, they're all running. I mean, the error disconnect is what you get when an HTTP request fails. You get that every time.
Okay, so this is correct. Localhost, those are all correct. It's weird to me that we weren't seeing the weird thing is this was not updating, right? We didn't see any calls there.
Yeah, we did. We saw calls.
We did, but we didn't on the most recent. Okay, so now I'm going to do here.
I would go to a fresh window before you try this. Yeah. And an easier way to get to your browser DevTools is just Control-Shift-I.
All right. Control-Shift-I.
This is for me. Right? Yeah.
I may not have it mapped for some reason. Okay. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's go in here. Do that. Well, it didn't barf. It didn't call update.
Did it call the endpoint?
It did.
Yeah, but in the browser. Do you see it in the browser?
Wasn't on there.
Yeah, there it is. And you see the response?
Yeah, I think it works on this page. Response.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so try another one.
So yeah,
the state's not updating, but that's a separate issue. All right. So and then now it fails. Why?
So it's on the second request. So maybe something about we're not clearing state, or it's the way we're reusing something.
Looks like you were emulating being offline when the browser tools are open. Are you, John? Yeah, your network is.
Oh my gosh. I'm not intentionally doing that.
See that little stop sign up there? Well, I don't know if that's it. No, that's recording the network log. Where's the offline?
There it is, right there.
Yes, you're offline.
Why on earth? Let's go no throttling, right?
That's why the requests are failing.
Oh my gosh. That is
Chicken Man What in the world? This is, I think WebAssembly has gone though. Like once it
Yeah.
goes, it's gone, and you.
It's just it's like I'm out. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, those are some good eyes because that's
No
tiny.
kidding. That would have taken a long time to figure out.
Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go inspect. Let's make sure. That's just crazy. I've not intentionally put myself offline ever. I don't know. I wonder if
Okay, so there's one. Now do another one. And the first one will update. Yeah. Now do a third one. Do a third one. And the second one will update.
yeah. So now we got to see why it's
IT support veteran, second nature. Dude, Chicken Man,
Chicken Man
you're
wins it for
literally the
today.
man. You're the Chicken Man and the man because we would have spent weeks on that.
But seriously, but it was really weird behavior, right? Because it's like, why is it not returning and it's like not hitting the function but the function worked?
So now the problem is that state has changed is not actually updating.
Yeah.
Okay. We are very close.
We are super close. Okay, so now let's go in to here. So let's see what's going on. I guess we'll stop our client. I mean, could try and root edit it, but whatever. So this update link.
And then we're calling state has changed.
Should we call state has changed from here? Also, this needs to indent because come on.
Depends on if, like this is what I understand. In the previous function, if I say await, does that mean that line fully executes and resolves before state has changed gets called?
It's supposed to, yeah. So this basically says execute this, create a state machine, and when this finishes, resume. And this, now I did see some problems earlier, and maybe it's trying to tell us something in one of those. Like there's some asyncs that we're not doing stuff on.
All right, let's check them out.
Okay, so 37. Sure. So new link added. That's weird. Oh, because this is on edit. We're no longer doing that here. So this should be just void. But then should that call status change from there?
Well, no, because this is going to get called before the HTTP call comes back.
Yeah. Okay. You had mentioned some stuff that we need to do some like bubbling up or something in there.
Well, we already did it, right? We're bubbling up and saying add it to the state container.
Okay.
Which we can actually do here, right? There's no real reason for us to add it to the state container in component. The only reason we're bubbling up in the index is because we need to route after that. We need to do something post. But in the edit page, we don't need to do that. So we can actually move that logic here. So
move the logic from edit?
Yeah, you can just take this out altogether. Wait. Can these callbacks be optional? In other words, like you don't have to specify them, or no, you have to. You have to. Never mind. Might as well leave it as is.
Okay.
Are
we duplicating something? Maybe are we calling it twice? Because are we adding the link to the container here and also here?
Well, what we could do, John.
I think we may be duplicating. Right?
Why?
Are we adding it to the state container in new link and also adding it in? No, I guess we're not.
No, we're not. I don't think anything's duplicated. See, one thing that we could do is that we could add a method on here. See, I don't know why calling state has changed is not updating the state.
It feels like it's maybe this. Yeah, it should have completed by that point. And we know it does update the item. Can fix this too.
You can just change that to void as well. It's just on initialized.
Okay.
No, maybe not. Yeah, that's right.
Good. Could Copilot maybe help answer?
Okay, that's a great one. So do Control-Shift-I.
Control-Shift-I.
And just ask. Oh, wait, do you not have Copilot installed? You do.
Yeah.
You don't have the chat installed, maybe? Huh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, and you just go to chat. Your keyboard's not doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, there's something. I think it's one of these like hacker keyboards, and it's like whatever. Why isn't? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's in some weird mode. That's not helpful. I did a thing, and now I'm not sure how to reset it. Function. It's not doing capitals. I must have caps lock or something. Why isn't this updating the state on line? That's weird. I typed an E. Okay.
Doesn't guarantee an immediate re-render. It just schedules a render to happen at the next time.
Maybe it's that.
Wait. Well, hold on. Let's read it. Expand that sidebar, if you would.
Yeah.
And then what does it say? It says, okay, so it's telling us to ensure that it's updated, you should call state has changed after the await statement. Here's how you can modify your code. So go down. It wants us to change the code from that to what? Await, invoke async, state has changed. Really?
It seems okay.
Try it.
Okay. So it's this right here. Yeah, I don't understand that. I don't understand state has changed totally either. So, all right, should we try it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't believe. I mean, that would be wild if Copilot solved that quickly.
And these saying the function was still running. The proxy is still running. Should be good. I'll start a new window. Although we do now, the reason I had to keep opening new windows was because of that thing, I think.
That error.
Because I had problems.
Yeah, because it was turned off.
Okay, I'm going to go here. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'll go, oops, I'll do inspect. That's the craziest Heisenbug there, because Yeah.
No.
And then if so it did get the data. I mean, it's taking half a second, but yeah, it's reading a whole page and stuff. I feel like this is because it's in a base component. The base component needs to tell its parent to run state as changed. You know what I mean? Like this component is only saying my state is changed. I don't think that it bubbles.
What we
You know what I
could
mean?
do, what we could do, John, is add, like, just explicitly call on the state container that it's changed on the state container, because the state container is at a higher level.
Okay.
And if we're subscribing to the state is changed in the component, I wonder if that will work. So instead of calling it has changed.
So at the completion of this, maybe the state container, yeah, I see what you're saying. Does the state container have a method that says?
Because you're mutating the link here. What if you mutate the link in the state container instead?
Okay. So here, yeah, okay. How do I do that?
So in this case, you need to, when you update you can move this logic into the state container, but the reference to the link.
I have it here though. So I could, right? I have this, my existing link that I called passed in. So I could have a thing in the state container that says update link, and it takes an old link and a new link. And it copies the values over and then it says state has changed. Let me try and type the code and then you'll explain how to do it better. If I say here, update public void update.
You can't do capitals.
It won't like.
Just take what Copilot's giving you. Update link and bundle. Fine. So link equals link bundle dot links var index equals.
What I was going to do is pass in
old link, new link.
Yeah. We need a capital L from somewhere. Then I can go like that. That's weird. I don't think I need to do index, do I? I think I can just say.
Well, see, that's what I don't know. I don't know if the reference to the link is going to hold up, or if you're going to have to reselect the link by its ID and then update the values.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
No, I was going to say old link dot. Right. I was just going to set the values.
Yeah.
And then say, I don't want to do that.
Can't you just copy all your old code over?
Yes. Yes, I can. Thank you. Except, yeah.
Does Control-C work on your keyboard?
Let's see. Yeah, I really need to reboot my machine, I guess. And then I'll change these to link. I'll change this. That seem right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then
C# dev kit's getting you no help here in terms of format.
No, it's not. The world's against us. Okay, so now I've got update link and bundle. So now we're calling.
So now here, all you need to do is say if updated link is not equal to null,
Update link
Just
and
call
bundle.
the state container. Yeah.
Okay. State container. I can't type call state container.
This is really bad, man. You're having to live stream without being able to use your keyboard.
I know, right? Okay. Right? Okay, so there. And this needs to pass in two things. It needs to pass in link. And then this should be called, why is that not working?
Because that's not the name of the method. It's update link in bundle or something.
Let's change that.
No, just that's good. I like that. It's
Oh, okay.
because it goes along with the naming convention of everything else in the file, which is why Copilot generated that.
Okay. Now why are you unhappy? Await.
What kind of method did you make that? Public void.
And it takes a link, and then it takes two links. And this.
What's the problem?
It's not highlighting that correctly, which is weird.
It knows what it is. What does it think? Yeah, that's because one's a parameter, the other's a variable. But what is the error that you get? An object reference is required for the non-static field method property state container update. An object reference? Wait a minute. Do you not have the state container injected? You do not.
Thank you, Copilot. Now we have it.
No, you don't need to await it. You don't need to await it.
Okay. Now what do you got for me?
There we go.
Should we run it? Okay. Oh my goodness.
Chewing on things now.
This is stressful.
That's where I am.
We got the function running. We got the proxy running.
It's hard to watch, John, because like as a developer, you just want to jump in and like move.
I know. Hey,
that must be how chat feels. Sorry, chat.
Okay. So now let's close that. Let's close that. Okay. Okay. Let's put us in the corner. Go to here. Okay.
Come on. Yo!
Okay, that was sweet. That was a really good idea you had.
Do another one.
Okay. It looks really cool when it fills in too, doesn't it? Because
it does. It just kind of pops in there. Oh my gosh.
I want to say it's a little faster than I don't know.
Than the other one?
Maybe.
It's pretty quick. It's pretty quick. Dude. Oh
okay.
my gosh.
Man, that was epic. That's a good way to I think we're ending the year on this one, right?
Are we? I mean, I'll stream all through Christmas, man. I don't care.
Oh, what is next week?
Next week, Friday is like the 21st.
Iffy. Maybe. I'll talk to you.
I got plenty of stuff I can work on. Maybe.
Okay. If you want to stream without me, you are definitely feel free. I would like to. I just I don't know what I got going on family wise.
Okay. Just let me know.
You want to do? Tell you what. If you want to do the main coding, I could probably show up. I just not sure I could write code.
Yes.
We need.
Yeah.
So
next week we can do like the status bar. Now we've got the OpenGraph stuff. We can do the status bar. We could do turning the public page into the static page. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy we got that going.
Right before we go, do you want to show people? I know like most people are long gone because they're like, I can't watch this for 2 hours. But if you go to our repo, go to the urlist.com. It's github.com/the urlist, and we can show people that Yeah, that's fine. And then go back to the main repo there. The main org, yeah. And then go to that Blazor sortable. Y'all, the second one down, we abstracted this into like a project on its own so that you can use this if you want to. And we improved on the logic a little bit as well. All the JavaScript self-contained. If you scroll down, you'll see what you need to do to set this up in your own project. There's not a lot to it here. So if you're looking for a Blazor sortable, this is it. And also right now it only sorts within the same list. So I'm trying to work on that as well. And then we'll get a demo up. But if y'all are interested in how we did the sortable, this is it.
This is super cool. Yeah, I think too, another thing we need to do, which maybe I'll do, is updating this. So our README says how to actually run it.
Yeah.
This is not super helpful. I think now we can actually to end things up, let me commit this, pull request it, and update the thing. And then
all right, but I gotta go because I gotta call my mom.
Brad, okay. So we'll wrap there. This is great. I will update it on the thing, and then we can check some stuff off the project. So
awesome. Thanks, man. That was great. That felt so good at the end. That felt so good.
It looks so cool when it works. I was just like, please, we're so close.
Please just come back.
And again, MVP award. You were like calling stuff from the stands, and Chicken Man also with the amazing spot there. That was incredible.
Yeah, Chicken Man. Wow, that one goes to you. You're going on the in the release notes just for that.
Okay, cool. All right, it's time for me to play. Thanks for watching. And
all right, and I'm not going to stick around, John. I'm out. Good to see you.
I'm out
Bye,
too.
Kat.
Bye.